If the thought leaders in the Democratic Party keep encouraging and not rebuking the idea that America is cringe and the people who run Gaza are great, the Democrats are doomed. Alyssa Slotkin's right. Liberals are weak and woke, especially the white ones, and they indulge all sorts of nonsense from their kids, a pattern that then continues on in the Democratic Party.
Bill Maher saw it coming, and for years he warned his own party that voters were no longer to be taken lightly, saying, "Stop the woke nonsense," and urging them to stop obsessing over identity politics. Party loyalists labeled him a sellout, fired him, and claimed he was wrong. Then came November 2024. Democrats lost the White House, the Senate, the House, everything. Maher had also sparked controversy earlier with his blunt comment, "Look in the mirror, losers." Over the following month, he carefully outlined why Democrats would continue losing if they didn't wake up. Tonight, we'll break down Maher's sharp diagnosis, the evidence behind it, and why his own party treats him like a traitor for speaking honestly. The painful truth? Democrats are doubling down on the very strategies that doomed them, and his warnings are proving true. The turning point was clear. November 8th, 2024, Maher walked onto the real-time set the day after the election, faced his stunned liberal audience, and delivered the words no one wanted to hear. "Look in the mirror, losers. That's my message." The studio went quiet. No laughter, no applause, just a shared understanding of what he meant. Democrats had been warned for months, but the message hadn't sunk in.
Under 30 say they're proud to be an American. 54% say they're embarrassed by it. Embarrassed? Like America's your mom picking you up at school? You're embarrassed to be an American? Well, guess what? The feeling's mutual. Because you have no perspective. Is America perfect? No, of course not. No country is. But the U.S. is leagues ahead of the rest of the world on most of the progressive issues that are important to young people. America has 14 million women-owned businesses. 17% of black women are starting businesses, which is faster than white women or white men. Gay Americans are free to marry, and 49% of them own property. Yes, in America, gays buy buildings.
They were convinced victory was theirs. Then reality hit hard. Maher had been warning them for years, not just weeks before the election, that ordinary Americans were being alienated by their relentless anti-common sense approach. Woke politics, in his view, is electoral poison. He urged them to stop making pronouns, gender, and ethnicity the centerpiece of everything. They ignored him. The proof was undeniable. The Republican nominee won decisively, carried every swing state, and drew support from Latinos, Black Americans, and even white women. What makes this striking is that Maher isn't a conservative. He's always leaned liberal, voted for Kamala Harris, supported Obama, and despises the GOP, yet he refuses to invent excuses for his party's failure. His honesty made him a public target for progressives who'd rather blame voters than look inward.
On these days, at an AOC Bernie Sanders rally in Idaho last month, someone threw a Palestinian flag over an American flag, and the crowd erupted in approval. What should have happened after that is one of the adults on stage should have told their young, loyal followers, this is not a symbol of freedom. This is.
So what exactly did Maher say? His message is simple but cutting. He argues that Democrats have become a clique of affluent, self-absorbed elites obsessed with status, pushing cultural battles that most Americans find off-putting, and then acting surprised when voters reject them. By forcing divisive ideas into the mainstream, they hope to normalize them, but it backfires. Maher pointed to ignored surveys showing how out of touch this strategy really is.
Thought leaders in the Democratic Party keep encouraging and not rebuking the idea that America is cringe and the people who run Gaza are great. The Democrats are doomed. Alyssa Slotkin's right. Liberals are weak and woke, especially the white ones, and they indulge all sorts of nonsense from their kids, a pattern that then continues on in the Democratic Party. Last election, it was all the gender stuff, the insistence that men can have babies and such, and now I fear that we like the terrorists is the new that. Liberals need to push back on the dumb ideas that come from their children.
Black voters, supposedly the party's core base, were actually more likely to see the Biden administration as too liberal than too conservative, according to Democratic polling group Blueprint, months before the election. Read that again. Democrats had drifted left of the very people they expected to support them, yet instead of adjusting, they doubled down. Their campaign centered pain on defending democracy and opposing fascism, while voters wanted to hear about border security, food, and gas prices. The painful truth? Maher argues Democrats ran as if voters didn't exist. They acted like reality didn't matter, claiming the economy was fine while families struggled, insisting cities were safe amid chaos, and labeling concerns about crime as racism. When there's a disconnect this big, elections are lost and trust evaporates. Maher also tore into the obsession with identity politics. Being a black woman alone wasn't enough. 25% of black men voted Republican, and the GOP gained strong support from Latinos. Why? People rejected demographic pandering. They wanted real policies and someone who understood their struggles. Democrats assumed identity alone would secure votes. It didn't. The numbers back it up.
Democrats' problem is the energy of the parties with the young and the younger with the terrorists. That's not good. So talk to your children and remind them you don't really want to live like your heroes in Hamas. All the you do all day, it was all made in America. Your smartphone, your Grubhub, your freedom to bitch about America, that's all American stuff. You tell your phone you want a milkshake and a guy brings it to your house. Please, you couldn't survive a week living in Intifadaville.
In 2020, the Republican candidate did better in 45 states. Even in deep blue areas like New York City, voters shifted right. This wasn't a fluke, it was a message. The public was unhappy with Democratic policies. Instead of listening, Democrats blamed racism and misogyny. Maher disrupted that narrative, pointing out that Obama won twice and Hillary Clinton won the popular vote in 2016 by 3 million. Bigotry wasn't the problem. The candidate and the message were. And then there's the woke issue. Maher has long stressed that liberalism and woke culture are not the same. True liberals seek equality and opportunity for all, treating people fairly regardless of race. Woke activists, by contrast, highlight racial divisions, demand equality through pressure, and brand dissenters as racists. That, Maher says, is not progress, it's a roadblock. I know this is true. Americans are exhausted by it. Maher gave clear examples. In California, missing children get separate alerts based on race, amber alerts for most children, ebony alerts for black children, feather alerts for Native American children.
Democrats need to get their shit together because we need two parties in this country, and we desperately need the one that still concedes elections, doesn't sell the office, and doesn't want to completely switch out democratic rule of law for rubber-stamped autocracy. But that party is so right now, and nothing to me symbolized that more than this video. Why do I say that? Well, let me put it this way. I don't know for a fact that this couple are Democrats. I just know it's true.
He called it antiquated identity politics, and he's right. Even with good intentions, voters don't want the government treating people differently because of skin color. They want everyone held to the same rules. And it's more than policy, it's a mindset. Democrats act like they're the smart ones who don't need to explain anything, Maher said. They also insult voters who disagree, calling them foolish or repulsive. In politics, hubris is deadly. Voters hold the ultimate power. Maher stressed education too. You're the teachers' union party, and you've turned schools and colleges into a joke, he said. Ensuring kids graduate with basic skills is a moral duty, yet Democrats focused on gender ideology and school closures instead. Parents noticed, and they voted accordingly. Then there's the issue of transgender athletes.
I knew they were Democrats for the same reason I knew this was a Democrat. You can't hide from the kiss cam, and you can't hide in the Oval Office. Damn, if only the lady at the Coldplay concert had brought some folders with her, maybe she wouldn't be in hot water today.
Maher tread carefully, supporting transgender rights, but criticizing Democrats for pushing male athletes into women's sports. Congressman Seth Moulton refused to let this happen in his district, and his campaign manager quit in protest. Maher sided with Moulton, put that man on the margins. Biological men have physical advantages. In this, Moulton reflected the views of most Americans. As a result, Moulton's supporters swung Republican, a number Democrats should be paying close attention to. Maher highlighted polls showing Hispanic Americans prioritize border security more than progressive white voters, while Black Americans worry less about racism than progressive whites. In short, Democrats often ignore the very groups they claim to represent while engaging in fights their own base dislikes. That's political malpractice. Maher summed it up. Create meaningful programs instead of shouting at people to sign up.
Beautiful symbol of freedom. When the people of Hong Kong stood up to China, they waved the American flag. Why? Because it's not just a beautiful flag. It is a symbol of hope and liberty. Today's divide in America, sadly, is not just about taxes or policy. The left resents this country. They're willing to embrace regimes that hate women, Christians, basic freedoms, because they share one thing: a hatred for America. Don't ever apologize for being proud of this country. You have a moral duty.
Every Democratic strategist should take note. Instead of earning trust, they demand compliance, and voters responded by giving Republicans total control. He also addressed patriotism. A Harvard survey he cited found fewer than 1 in 4 Democrats under 30 feel proud to be American, while 54% are ashamed. Young Republicans, 76% are proud, only 8% embarrassed. Maher's point: voters won't trust leaders who seem to disdain their country. If your platform feels oppressive or broken, why would anyone choose you to lead the U.S.? Maher's prescription: Democrats need to reclaim patriotism. Stop treating it as a Republican-only value. Show that, despite flaws, America has led the way on progressive causes: women's rights, LGBTQ rights, and racial equality. Victimhood alone doesn't win elections, yet that has become the party's default. He didn't hold back. Democrats must move toward the center and shed their woke baggage if they hope to succeed. Maher described himself as an old-school liberal who values equality over equity. Equality means giving everyone the same chance. Equity, he explained, is when government engineers outcomes. Voters reject equity. They see it as unfair, lowering standards, or treating people like children. And they're right. He argued Democrats could have distanced themselves from the far left, like Bill Clinton did in 1992 when he criticized a radical rapper. In 2024, Democrats could have condemned defunding the police, opposed open borders, or recognized biological differences between men and women. But fear of upsetting progressives cost them moderates and independents. The results speak for themselves. Democrats lost the presidency, the Senate, the House, and face a 6-3 conservative Supreme Court. They've been shut out of federal power for years. Instead of recalibrating, progressives are purging moderates. Seth Moulton faced backlash for common sense, and centrists are labeled sellouts. The party is consuming itself, and Maher predicts it will continue. Democrats risk losing the next election if nothing changes.
He appears to be an immigrant. I'm going to guess he's a legal immigrant. And that's the type of American you can be really, really proud of. And that's the type of people that we want here. Someone who loves this place, who understands this place, who doesn't want to come here and fundamentally alter it the way Zorhan Flamflami does. It's different. It's different. And we better really start understanding that. Do you think that Welch chick really loves America? Or does she want to burn it down? What do you think the Hamas guy over there wants to do? Or the Batman villain, or the rest of them? I mean, they tell you all the time, right? You don't have to believe me. Go see. You know, we always check it every year. Go see what they post on Memorial Day or on Labor Day or on Thanksgiving. And they never posted appreciation for this country. They never step back. Ilhan Omar should wake up every morning and get on her knees and look up at the flag. And
voters still react harshly to dissent, support policies most Americans reject, and assume moral virtue equals political success, which it doesn't. A YouGov survey found 57% of Americans believe political correctness affected the election. The problem isn't just Republican messaging. Most Americans think woke politics hurts Democrats. On immigration, crime, and the economy, people trust Republicans more. Democrats lost focus on fundamentals. Maher also criticized the media. Shows like The View have become partisan cheerleaders rather than journalists, while younger voters turn to influencers and podcasters who respect their intelligence. Joe Rogan reaches more people than CNN. Meanwhile, Democrats keep running 20th century campaigns in a 21st century media world. Maher concludes with clear guidance. Change is urgent or losses will continue. First, in identity politics. Voters care about policies, not demographics. Second, shed your woke baggage. Most Americans reject far-left social views. Third, engage voters in real dialogue instead of lecturing. Fourth, focus on fundamentals: the economy, education, and public safety. Win those, and other issues take a back seat. Fifth, be patriotic. Love the country you want to lead. Sixth, condemn the extremists. Make it clear the far left doesn't control the party. Finally, recruit exceptional candidates. Kamala Harris wasn't a serious choice. Democrats need someone who can connect with both academic and working class voters. The problem, Maher's warnings target the party's most powerful members, woke activists who run nonprofits, campaigns, and primaries, maintaining strict ideological purity. Any Democrat attempting his approach risks elimination. The result? A vicious cycle. Accuse voters, lose elections, move further left, and lose again. Maher has been clear. He isn't helping Republicans. He's trying to save his own party. But Democrats see him as the problem, not the solution, preferring moral superiority over compromise. That ensures more losses. Maher's diagnosis is backed by polling and election results. Even some Democratic leaders privately agree. Senator Mark Warner warns that ideological purity harms the party. Former Congressman Tim Ryan says Democrats have lost touch with the working class. Awareness isn't enough. Courage to change is missing. The truth, Democrats are struggling not because voters are ignorant or biased, but because the party no longer represents average Americans. It has become a haven for college professors, Hollywood celebrities, and charitable donors, groups that don't reflect the nation. Unless Democrats rebuild a working class coalition, losses will continue. Voters don't lie. Democrats do, mostly to themselves. Maher hurts because he is right. He isn't betraying the party. He's the one pointing out the iceberg before it's too late. If you're a liberal and this makes you uncomfortable, ask yourself why. Does the truth sting more than losing? Reality doesn't care about feelings. It only score.